What's up, everybody? Let me share a little dream with y'all that I had last night. It's not strange, but it was real. To me, it was real. I was in my old childhood home that I grew up in, my grandmother's house. My grandmother been dead since 1993. Yep, she been gone since 1993. And the house that she owned, that I grew up in, my grandmother's house is tore down. They tore it down like 4 years ago. Finally tore it down. But it's been on the same street I grew up on for years, standing. The family left the house in like 2002. The house was left, like everybody left that house and they let it go. And so from 2002 all the way up to like 2018, the house was tore down. So from 2018 till now, the house has been missing and just an empty lot there. So they tore it down, and every time I have a dream about my grandmother's house, I visualize in this dream everything was the way it was when she was still alive. Every room, the smell, the look of it. I seen my grandmother in this dream, y'all. She been gone since 1993. The same voice, the same face. I was looking for her in this dream, and I was walking up the steps, and I said, "Hey, Grandma, are you up there? Grandma, what you doing? Why ain't you up yet?" She said, "I'm sick." I said, "Do you have a cold?" She never responded, but when I got to as far as this dream would only let me get was just enough to get my head up over the top step so I could see her laying on the bed on her stomach with her arm hanging over the bed. But once again, my grandmother passed away back in 1993, and she was a great woman. I loved her dearly. There wasn't nothing I wouldn't do for her. I did a lot of work for my grandmother around the yard. I used to cut her yard with a weed whacker, like not a lawnmower, with a weed whacker. That's how I perfected the skill to weed whack. Like I really perfected weed whacking. Like I'm one of the best weed whackers out there. They gotta do the landscaping if I'm doing it. But anyway, I see my grandmother up laying on this bed, and I asked her, "Grandma, why ain't you up? What are you doing?" She said, "I'm sick." And all I could think of was saying, "Grandma, what, you got a cold?" And when I got my head up the top of that step, I woke up, and when I woke up, not woke up, but I was in another part of this dream, which I was in the front of the house going out the front door, and my neighbor, he passed away as well. His name was Mr. Buckman. He was a great man. He was a retired man from his career, and after he retired, he just ended up scrapping his whole life, like collecting junk, taking it to the junkyard, getting money. And he was a great man. He was strong for his age too, y'all, lifting hot water heaters, working by himself, like he never stopped working. And he only lived one house over from us. And he passed away in, like, I want to say the early 2000s, before the Trade Center fell. He passed away, and he was a great he was a great guy. But he had a triaxle dump truck outside in front of the house, and I said, hey, Mr. Buckman, you know you got a flat tire on the back of that truck. There's a slice in the tire. He said, yeah, I know. Then this dude that I knew from a job I used to work at, he jumped up in Mr. Buckman's truck and put it in first gear and drove off, kind of like showing off that he could drive a truck. And I'm like, wow, I can do that, you know. He jumped in the truck, drove it down, brought it back up the street. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I want my turn doing it. So who was Mr. Buckman? Wasn't Mr. Buckman anymore. It was this white guy. And he said, you want to drive this? Here, let me drive it first. I'm going to drive it down and you can drive it back up. I was like, okay, cool. So I get in this man's truck and he backing it all the way down the street and he going to let me drive it up. So he jumped out and I felt it. I seen it. This is like I was really here. So I got out of the truck and I went around and I got in the driver's seat. He was in the passenger seat and I'm saying to him, what's wrong with the gas pedal? It's not even, it was almost like the gas pedal was attached to a cable, but it wasn't attached to the floor. So like, how are you accelerating? He trying to explain to me how you accelerate this thing. And right as I'm ready to take off and drive and push the differential switch over, and start the truck. I remember starting this truck. It was like a push start with your foot on the clutch. You had to put your foot on the clutch and then start the truck with a push start button. And I know I'm rambling and y'all really don't want to hear this dream, but I woke up after that. But the crazy thing is this is not the first dream that I've had of my grandmother. The last time I had a dream of my grandmother, it was a good 10 years easy. I think it was about 10 years easy, but I have had dreams of her. But I've never had dreams of my grandfather, but I remember my grandfather like it was yesterday. He passed away in the 80s, my grandfather in the 80s and my grandmother in 93. I think my grandfather passed away in 86, if I'm correct. But my grandmother passed away definitely in 1993. That's when the movie Menace to Society came out and everybody wanted to go to the movie theater to see the movie. And we did, but it just I can't explain why I had that dream. I don't know why I had that dream. My grandmother is in a different realm, a different place living. She never died. True. Just people don't die, y'all. We don't. We go on. We go on. But I got a chance to see her again. I don't even want to get in. It's just that was, I felt that dream. I really felt that dream. It was just too real. Too real. Love y'all. I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Everybody have a blessed Monday.